Hello and welcome to this video on plums as a species for bonsai. As a species, plums can be a stunning display across the year. Amazing flowers in spring, a nice summer tree full of leaves and growing fruit, a tree full of bright purple fruit. In this case, but you can also find everything from yellow, red, purple and even close to black in late summer and autumn. In winter it is a stunning bare branch specimen. Despite such a nice display piece anyway, plums do have a few problems that make them hard, or perhaps it would be better to say harder for beginners. With just a little experience, a plum can be reasonably straightforward for most bonsai enthusiasts, and you can get some really nice results with relatively little work. You just need to be aware of the limitations and work to those and the strengths. While a plum bonsai may seem exciting, the everyday plum tree is more useful. It's well known for its fruit and is a common orchard species. Plums as a general category cover a wide range of species and, honestly, too many to list. Most of the commonly seen, and these would be your commercial type species, will grow to about 5 to 6 meters or between 16 and 20 feet high. They'll grow about 3 to 4 meters wide, sometimes wider again, but this will depend very much on environmental conditions. The tree will often spread at let's say a more squat form. 5 to 6 meters is the functional height, but some species can get as high as 12 and 10 meters across. They will blossom in different parts of the year, depending on where in the world you are, and this owes very much to local environmental conditions. They need a certain period of frost and cold to ensure dormancy, and this will then allow for the flowers and fruit. Without this, you get delays, or in some cases, no fruit at all. The fruit itself can be anywhere between 2 and 7 centimeters, or about 1 to 3 inches. It's generally slightly more ovaloid shape, and as mentioned, can be quite colourful. And do be mindful there is a hard stone inside of it that is the core or seed. The most popular species used for bonsai as far as prunes go are mume. These are otherwise known as the Japanese flowering apricot or Chinese plum. They will produce small, delicate flowering buds that turn into blossoms. These can generally be pink or white, although there is some more variation. That's what you'll normally find. The branch structure itself is generally going to be somewhat more fine, almost like a willow in some ways, slightly more twisted, and generally speaking, if you are going to be styling them, rather more artful than necessarily, let's say, as strict to the styling rules. As a bonsai, plums can be grown a number of ways, both for purpose and style. A plum can be grown purely as a showpiece, where you train and prune it with flowers in mind and remove any fruit. Alternatively, you can aim to grow it for fruit. In some cases, you might choose an alternating season for the flowers and fruit. This allows you to have a year where you can display it with flowers and then later fruit, and then in other years you allow it to flower but you remove all the fruit. This will ensure that during those off years you get both the growth and development needed for the later years where you use it for the fruit. As far as the appearance goes, you have small light green, almost ovaloid type leaves. In late summer, they'll begin to turn somewhat yellowish and eventually fall off. The flowers themselves will be followed by small fruit, and, well, you can imagine what happens from this point onwards. It begins out green and then gradually colours. The bark, at least initially, is going to be quite smooth and very bright green. From there, it darkens and then develops the brown, almost vein-like structures on it, and these gradually thicken and cover more of the branch structure and trunk as it ages, almost like a scab in a way, except that it gets bigger. The bark, due to this, can be very attractive in some people's views. It is worth pointing out that depending on which particular cultivars of plum we're talking about, the cultivar can be, let's say, vulnerable to frost, and not necessarily as bad for some particular cultivars, but others do not like it at all. As such, the plum can be grown indoors, albeit with some difficulty, but it can be done. One of the benefits is that because it can be grown indoors, it's somewhat suitable. or at least a good candidate, for those who live in inhospitable climates. First, we have the soil you need for growing this, and thankfully you can use a fairly standard soil mix. All it has to do is retain enough water and offer some drainage. Overall, as far as soils go, it is a very cooperative species. You don't need anything special, and you can use even the most generic of soil mixes, as long as you add some extra drainage to it. As mentioned, you can grow your plum indoors, but it is generally better to grow it outside in not necessarily full light, but you want at least some light exposed to it, preferably first thing in the morning, and then gradually increase shade available to it. This is one opportunity where you can use a much larger tree to protect the smaller plum tree. The semi-shaded environment is good, as it keeps the extreme light off of the leaves and flowers, preventing them from being damaged. You'll also want to avoid some of the worst frosts. Looking at something, let's say, below 4 or 5 degrees. That's because this can damage those growing buds and prevent it from being able to develop the way you want it to. It can also, in some more extreme cases, cause dieback. To support the growth of your plum, you should be using a slow-release fertilizer twice a year, once at the start of spring and once between mid and late summer. During the spring, you should start to also apply a liquid fertilizer every other week and a nutrient-like solution, such as fish emulsion, during the off week. This is needed to support the growth that will occur and the pruning you will be doing. While fertilizer is good, watering is somewhat more important. Technically speaking, your plum will survive just fine without the fertilizer, but it will not without the water. The challenge here will be keeping the roots of your plum moist, but you don't want to put too much water in there. This is one of the species that can be very touchy about just how much water you give it. If the roots dry out to anything close to completely, they will start to die off very quickly, and so will the branch as a whole. By contrast, it's also prone to root rot. And so you need to carefully balance the amount of water you give it. Not too much, not too little. Plums can be trimmed back to 2 buds most of the year round. You will want to try and avoid some of the most heavy pruning during winter, or at least pruning of the smallest branches during winter, let's say. Large branches, as a general rule, are best done at this time of year. Prune back the other branches and the small branches during spring. This will lead to great ramification. Big branches, for example those that are growing where you do not want them, particularly for bonsai that are in early development, should be done in winter. Further, avoid pruning in late summer if you want flowers and consequential fruit development. If you prune at this time, you will not get any flowers. That's because the tree begins to set the necessary branches in place around this time. You'll find that the fruit should only be appearing on new growth, and this is another reason why you want to avoid it. Going into late summer, any of that growth at the end of the branch is where you'll see next year's fruit appearing. For the purposes of styling, wiring should be done in spring for young branches, and it's because they're still pliable. They will bend and hopefully not snap. Older branches tend to be very uncooperative, and in most cases you can't really bend them. They will break. Now, there are ways around this, to be clear, but ways around it is honestly going to look like torture to anyone who's not familiar with what you're up to. So it's generally best to try and style young branches in the places you need them to be, and then hope you haven't made a mistake, because you might have to remove the branch if you have. That's because these branches won't move either once they're set in place. Repotting is done roughly every 2 years, and as mentioned, it's a reasonably painless process. The other advantage to this species, beyond the fact that repotting is a reasonably straightforward process, is you can remove about 1/3 of the root mass without the tree showing any real effects. A little bit more, and you may find it's possible. A little bit less, and it's not going to have as much benefit. 1/3 tends to be that sweet spot in between too much and too little. It's commonly seen that people replant in a larger pot but this is done solely to avoid the soil drying out very quickly. However, as you can imagine, if you have to continuously up-pot, this becomes a problem within a few years. This is one reason why you may wish to consider intermittently removing more than a third of the root mass, then going back to a third, maintaining that for a few repotting cycles, and then up to a larger repotting size. It gives you more time in the same size pot. In terms of pests and annoyances that will come up, we've mentioned the issue of excess moisture in the soil and root rot, but this is honestly the same as most other bonsai, and that's a thing with the plum. You're not going to find many pests are an issue, barring those that you commonly see either with any other fruiting bonsai or any other standard bonsai, so things like aphids and whitefly. These are reasonably easy to handle most of the time. Mold and mildew are much the same. If you avoid excess humidity, they won't be a problem, but a fungicide will take care of it. Pruning for air circulation will also be important in that case. The other point we need to make at the end of this video is that you can choose to start this with a very thin beginner tree. And we're not talking about a beginner tree as in a bonsai beginner tree, but quite literally nursery stock. The reason for this is that the new growth, as mentioned, is pliable and you can do what you want to do. If you're looking at trying to style it a particular way, this is probably your best hope. A young tree allows you to train it and shape more easily, resulting in a more personally and aesthetically appealing bonsai. By contrast, you can try collecting a specimen from a yard, and these can be very compelling specimens when you see them. They tend to be larger and more developed, allowing you to be let's say, able to jump certain steps and get let's say a more grand specimen. The other option is in between these, and you can choose to air layer. This is something we've done before, and the idea is simply that you take a existing plum tree and either you allow a growth straight upwards, or you somewhat style it while it's still growing, and then you air layer it off and plant it into a pot to become established, and then you turn it into a bonsai. Either option will work, and it does give you some of the advantages of collecting a Yamadori of a kind. Also, at the same time, it gives you the benefits of being able to control much of the growth, as you would with a starter bonsai. Overall, the plum tree, as long as you're patient and willing to put in the work, will yield really good results. But small beginner mistakes will end up costing you a lot of progress and possibly kill it. As a result, it's not necessarily a beginner-friendly specimen or species, but at the same time, it's a good opportunity to learn, as they tend to be reasonably readily available, cheap, and, for those willing to go to the effort, very rewarding. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it interesting, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please do post any comments, questions, or suggestions you have below.